Shalom, everyone. Welcome to our Friday night Shabbat study, and we are continuing again in the book of Enoch. This time we're going in chapter 100. I will be starting off the reading for us. I'm here with my brother Dennis, my sister Shoshana, and so we are going to be reading the book of Enoch right now. And please join along. If you viewers do not have a copy, I will be putting it on share screen. And I will be sharing my sound, so you will be hearing us read it while you can look at the screen and see the book of Enoch. You can download this online. This is the Hallelujah Scriptures version of the book of Enoch on PDF format for free. So if you're interested, viewers, download it for free on your computer. You can transfer it to your Android via USB cable. So it's definitely something that comes in handy. So here we go, chapter 100. And in those days, in one place, the fathers together with their sons shall be smitten, and brothers one with another shall fall in death till the streams flow with their blood. For a man shall not withhold his hand from slaying his sons, and his sons' sons, and the transgressor shall not withhold his hand from his honored brother. From dawn till sundown they shall slay one another, and the horse shall walk up to the breast in the blood of transgressors, and the chariot shall be submerged to its height. In those days the Malachim shall descend into the secret places and gather together into one place all those who brought down transgression. And the Most High will arise on that day of judgment to execute great judgment among sinners. Sounds like the day of Yahuwah. Talks about the elect being gathered by the Malachim. You can actually find that in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, I believe. So, verse 5. And over all the righteous and the Kodash, or Kodesh, however you want to pronounce it, he will appoint guardians from the amongst the Kodash Malachim to guard them as the apple of an eye, until he makes an end of all wickedness and all transgression. And though the righteous sleep a long sleep, they have nothing to fear. And the children of the earth shall see the wise in security, shall understand all the words of this book, and recognize that their riches shall not be able to save them in the overflow of their transgressions. Woe to you, transgressors, on the day of the strong anguish, you who afflict the righteous and burn them with fire. You shall be rewarded according to your works. Woe to you, you obstinate of heart, who watch in order to devise wickedness. Therefore fear shall come upon you, there shall be none to help you. Woe to you, you transgressors, on account of the words of your mouth, on account of the deeds of your hands, which your wickedness has worked. In blazing flames, burning worse than fire, you shall burn. And now know that from the Malachim he will inquire as to your deeds in the heavens, from the sun and from the moon and from the stars, in reference to your transgressions. Because upon the earth you execute judgment on the righteous, and he will summon to testify against you every cloud, mist, and dew and rain. For they shall all be withheld because of you from descending upon you, and they shall be mindful of your transgressions. And now give presents to the rain, that it be not withheld from descending upon you, nor even the dew when it has received gold and silver from you, that it may descend. When the frost and snow with their chilliness, and all the snowstorms with all their plagues fall upon you, in those days you shall not be able to stand before them. Wow. Okay, so that was the end of chapter 100. I'm going to unmute everyone. Wow.
Wow, that's right. You know, I've read stuff about this in Revelation and other places, and Enoch just goes right along with it. It's just, this is just as much scripture as Revelation and the book of Isaiah and any other place of the canonized scriptures. I love the book of Enoch.
Yeah, so to me, it reminded me of Matthew, where it says that his Malachim are going to gather his elect from the four winds of the earth. So it's almost like a copying of that. And the day of Yahuwah, which is mentioned everywhere in Scripture, a lot of times in the prophets in the Tanakh. Joel, Ezekiel, I think, references it. Jeremiah references the day of Yahuwah. I mean, Isaiah references it a lot. So all those books are referencing what Enoch's talking about here. So you have, in one chapter, it's talking about the Malachim gathering us to one place, the day of Yahuwah's vengeance coming upon the transgressors, and it's basically saying, woe to you because you've unrighteously judged. You have basically, condemned the righteous, basically, and they're gonna meet their end because they have oppressed the righteous. So that's what I got from that chapter.
Yes, and that day of Yahuwah comes against all sinners, which means that if you're still a sinner, you better look out. So the best thing you can do is to learn his word, learn what he requires of you, and do it.
Yes, King David said, when he found out he was sinning, he would turn pretty quick.
Yes, and he was a man after Yahuwah's own heart.
Exactly.
But this definitely does describe the great day of Yahuwah.
I pray we are worthy to be gathered up by the messengers and spared.
Absolutely. I pray that Sean could be counted worthy too, and that his children could go with us.
That'd be wonderful.
Absolutely.
God knows his heart.
Okay, so who, Shoshana, would you like to read the next chapter?
Okay. I was just making some notes. Chapter 101. And I'm reading the R.H. Charles version. Observe the heaven, you children of heaven, and every work of the Most High, and fear him, and work no evil in his presence. If he closes the windows of heaven and withholds the rain and the dew from descending on the earth on your account, what will you do then? And if he sends his anger upon you because of your deeds, you cannot petition him, for he spoke proud and insolent words against his righteousness. Therefore, ye shall have no peace. And see you not the sailors of the ships, how their ships tossed to and fro by the waves, and are shaken by the winds, and are in sore trouble. And therefore do they fear, because all their goodly possessions go upon the sea with them. And they have evil forebodings hard that the sea will swallow them, and they will perish therein. I hear some kind of echo. Can that be fixed, Doug?
Yeah, I forgot to mute Dennis. My bad about that.
Okay, I think it's going to be better now. And not the entire sea and all its waters and all its movements, the work of the Most High, and has he not set limit to its doings and confined it throughout by the sand? And at his reproof it is afraid and dries up, and all its fish die, and all that's in it. But you sinners that are on the earth, fear him not. Has he not made the heaven and the earth and all that's in it? Who has given understanding and wisdom to everything that moves on the earth and in the sea? Do not the sailors of the ships fear the sea? Yet sinners fear not the Most High. Makes you wonder, why? Why do the sinners not fear the Most High? How can they just go on sinning without thinking of their own judgment? Perhaps they don't believe him. They better start. He means what he says.
This kind of reminded me of the Book of Job a little bit. How Yahuwah's reminding Job that by his strength he made the heavens and the earth, by his wisdom, and who could be his counselor? Who can say to Yahuwah, what are you doing by making mankind this way? Like the book of Jeremiah talks about that. Can the clay say to the potter, why have you made me this way? So it's almost like that. It's like the sovereignty of Yahuwah, that humanity is almost like challenging his sovereignty, almost saying like they're basically not fearing him. They're not realizing that everything he makes, everything that they see, even the sea has boundaries that Yahuwah has set it at.
People there are quite arrogant. If you get transhumanists, for example, they can create beings better than the Creator. Rather amazing.
Yeah, that was actually foretold in Transformers. That one Transformers movie. I'm trying to think of the actual name of it. I think it was called Age of Extinction. That was the name of the movie, and one guy was like, "Oh, we don't need you anymore," saying to the good guys, the Autobots, "We don't need you guys anymore. We have programmable matter. We can make you guys. We don't need you." So it's almost like Hollywood's subliminally saying, we don't need Yahuwah because we can make gods of our own.
Well, it's easy for people to think that they're immune, but wait until he comes. They're not immune. No one gets away with anything. All the things that they think they're doing in secret, he will expose. He says so.
Just another quick note, kind of reminds me of the book of Romans. This chapter reminds me what Paul says that, oh, no, it's not Paul. It's actually in the book of 2 Peter talks about, knowing this beforehand, they are willingly ignorant of the visible characteristics of the creation, basically meaning that the creation is proof of Yahuwah existing, and that humanity has been willingly ignorant of this fact. And so this chapter kind of reminded me of what Peter talks about, where he talks about in last days there will be scoffers, saying, when is the promise of his coming, and that whole chapter. So people have been willingly ignorant of this fact, that you can look at the sea and that there's a creator. You can look at trees. Most scientists admit that there's a designer, but they just don't want to believe in a designer that wants you to submit to him. They rather believe that an alien has seeded this planet. And so people like Richard Dawkins have admitted that there has to be intelligent design. He's admitted it. So the whole idea of evolution is bankrupt at this point. Even guys like Richard Dawkins will admit there's an intelligent designer, but they want to believe that this planet has been seeded rather than a deity of the scriptures. And he doesn't want to believe in an intelligent designer that wants him not to sin. So it's because of man's wicked heart that they would rather believe a lie. They rather believe that aliens created us.
Well, then that is their demise. In fact, anybody that wants to believe that lie, that's your demise for believing it.
It's willingly being stupid.
All right, so I think I'll read chapter 102 here. And here we go. Let's see here. In those days when he has brought a grievous fire upon you, so again, reiterating that the day of his judgment is going to be a day of fire. So possibly we're going to see another Sodom and Gomorrah instead of a flood, which Peter also talks about in the book of 2 Peter in the canonized text. In those days when he has brought a grievous fire upon you, where will you flee? And where will you find salvation? And when he launches forth his word against you, which is the Son, Yahusha is the Word, will you not be frightened and revere? And all the lights shall be frightened with great fear. Wow. So the lights, the stars, the Malachim are going to be frightened. That's pretty scary. And all the earth shall be frightened and tremble and be alarmed, and all the Malachim shall execute their commands and shall seek to hide themselves from the presence of the great esteem, and the children of the earth shall tremble and quake. And you transgressors shall be cursed forever, and you shall have no peace. Fear not, you beings of the righteous, and be hopeful, you that have died in righteousness. So possibly alluding to the dead in Messiah, possibly. And do not grieve if your being has descended into the grave, Sheol, in grief, and that in your life your body did not fare according to your goodness, but wait for the day of the judgment of the transgressors, and for the day of the cursing and chastisement. And yet when you die, the transgressors speak over you as we die, so the righteous die. What benefit do they reap for their deeds? See, even as we, so they die in grief and darkness. And what have they more than we? From here on we are equal. And what will they receive, and what will they see forever? See, they too have died, and hereon forever they shall see no light. I tell you, you transgressors, you are content to eat and drink and rob and transgress and strip men naked and acquire wealth and see good days. Have you seen the righteous, how their end comes to pass, that no manner of violence is found in them till their death? Nevertheless, they perished and became as though they had not been, and their spirits descended into the grave in tribulation. Interesting. So that was the end of chapter 102. So again, it's talking about the day of Yahuwah.
This is what the sinners think of the righteous, though, that they perished as though they had not been, and their spirits descended into Sheol and tribulation. Well, it just shows how wrong they are, because even though we live lives filled with tribulation, when we die at peace, and we will be raised at the end time with Yahuwah, by Yahuwah.
Yes. We're here to keep the peace.
Yeah, what I got from this chapter too is what it says in the book of Ecclesiastes, that both are going to the same place. The rich and the poor both go to the grave. And what I got from this chapter too is that the rich boast over us being in the grave, the unrighteous doing wicked stuff, greedy for gain, all these things that have been mentioned in this chapter, all these wicked sins they've done, and they think just because they have a good life on earth that they've won, not realizing that what the judgment is to come. There's going to be a fiery judgment on they're going to be destroyed. Their lives are going to be taken on that day. And from what it seems like there's only peace for those that are in Yahusha and in Yahuwah. And I also got allude to Yahusha in this chapter, talking about he's coming with his word. So sounds like Yahusha is going to be the sword in Yahuwah's hands. And so
Yeah. Well, the sinners evidently have no idea what's coming for them, or they don't want to believe it. I don't know which is true.
Well, from what we read, it's like they don't believe it. They just ignore it.
They ignore it. That's it. They ignore everything that Yahuwah says to do. They don't do it, and they think that we're just weak because we are peacekeeping and loving people and do what Yahuwah says to do. And they have another thing coming when he comes back. That's all I got to say.
That's true.
okay, so that was, I believe, the end of 102. I believe we'll be coming back in a short little intermission. We only have 6 minutes left on this recording, so We will be coming back soon to do at least one more chapter. So stay tuned, guys. This is Brother Doug with my sister Shoshana and my brother Dennis. We will be back very soon. Shalom. Okay.